Ancient military strategy meets divine real estate deal, Sam. That's what we're diving into today with the book of Joshua. And let me tell you, it's got everything from espionage to property law.
You know what fascinates me about this text, PAPPY? It's essentially a blueprint for nation building that's over 3,000 years old and is still studied in military academies today.
That's right. And here's what's really mind blowing. We're looking at one of the earliest documented examples of psychological warfare. The Israelites marched around Jericho for 7 days, creating this intense psychological pressure before the actual battle.
Speaking of psychological elements, let's talk about that moment when Joshua takes over from Moses. Talk about impossible shoes to fill.
Oh man, imagine being the guy who has to follow the person who parted the Red Sea. And what's fascinating is that Joshua actually gets his own water parting miracle at the Jordan River. Still, with a twist, instead of raising a staff like Moses, the priests have to step into the flooding water first.
Well, that's exactly what makes this narrative so compelling. It's about faith requiring action. But can we talk about Rahab? Because that's where this story really gets interesting.
Right. So here's this woman who's essentially running an intelligence operation from inside enemy territory. Archaeological evidence suggests Jericho's walls were so thick that people actually built houses into them, which explains how Rahab could hide the spies and help them escape.
That's such a crucial detail about the architecture. And what happened to Rahab afterward is pretty remarkable, too.
Oh, yeah. She not only survives the destruction of Jericho, but also gets incorporated into Israelite society. And get this, ancient Jewish historians say she eventually married Joshua's right hand man, Caleb. Talk about a plot twist.
You know what really stands out to me? The sophisticated legal system they set up with those cities of refuge.
Absolutely fascinating stuff. They established 6 cities strategically spread throughout the territory where someone could flee if they accidentally caused a death. It's like an ancient witness protection program mixed with a court system. The accused would receive a fair trial rather than face immediate vengeance.
So, what do you make of the whole land distribution system they put in place?
Well, it's incredibly detailed. We're talking about one of the earliest examples of systematic land surveying and allocation. They used natural boundaries like rivers and mountains, but also created these exact property lines. And here's something wild. They actually used a lottery system to ensure fairness in distribution.
That level of organization is pretty impressive for something that happened over 3,000 years ago.
And what's really interesting is how they handled exceptional cases, like when the daughters of Zelophehad came forward to claim their father's inheritance. It set a precedent for women's property rights that was revolutionary for the time.
Speaking of revolutionary ideas, the whole concept of the memorial stones they set up is fascinating, like ancient historical markers.
Yeah, and archaeologists have actually found similar memorial stone formations throughout the region dating to this period. But what really gets me is how they use these stones as teaching tools. Each one had a story, a purpose. It's like they were creating this physical landscape of memory.
That's such an interesting way to preserve history, especially in an oral culture.
And you know what's wild? Some of these stone formations are still standing today. But let's talk about that famous moment when Joshua commands the sun to stand still. Ancient astronomers have actually tried to calculate what might have happened during that long day.
Well, that must have made for some interesting scientific discussions. How do modern scholars interpret that event?
Some suggest it might have been an eclipse. Others point to atmospheric phenomena that could have extended daylight. But what's really fascinating is how the text itself cites another ancient source, the book of Jashar, as confirmation. It's like they're providing their own historical documentation.
That attention to documentation really shows up in those final chapters too.
Oh, yeah. Joshua's farewell speech is like a master class in leadership transition. He doesn't just hand over power, he creates this moment of national decision making. And what's particularly powerful is that he acknowledges the challenge ahead. He's basically saying, look, staying faithful in times of peace might be more complicated than winning these battles.
That's remarkably insightful for a military leader, PAPPY, understanding that maintaining success is often more challenging than achieving it.
And isn't that still true today, SAM? Whether we're talking about personal goals, organizational change, or national identity, the real challenge isn't just getting there, it's staying true to your principles once you've arrived. Joshua got that over 3,000 years ago.